Here we go. 1, 2, 3 to the 4. Well, alright, so I can't count, but this program can, so that's where we're going to get a little bit of an advantage here. Now, when we get into this next section, it's going to get a little bit more complex, but you know, if you're having troubles now, go back to the previous tutorials, you'll see it's not so bad where we're at now. So what we're going to be doing today is nested looping. And basically what that means is if we want to run this code maybe, let's say, 3 times in a row, we want to, from the start, prompt the user what number would you like, where would you like to start from 1 to 100, then ask him for that number, for that input, and then loop it until basically it proves false and print it on the screen. What if we want to run that 3 times? We have 3 different lists, we want it to count up to a certain number, so on and so forth. That's what nested looping is. And so where we're going to start is establishing another variable. So from the previous tutorial, the template that we're on now, we've got 2 integers established, y and x. We're also going to establish a count. Now don't do count type or anything like that, just put count with a lowercase and ignore the rest. Now, after we've established the count variable, we're going to insert our first loop here. Now I don't know why it's starting me there. Let me get rid of that. We really want to start right there. Yeah, right there. So we're going to establish our for loop here, and this is what's going to be basically the overview of how many times we want the program to loop. So in this case, we're going to initialize it, and this is where we're going to establish our count. So we're going to put just our basic count variable is equal to 1. So we want the count to start at 1, and this is how many times it's going to loop. So we're going to start at 1. Our condition is going to be, let's say, equal to or less than 3. Space equal to or less than 3. Wow, that's poor there. Alright, so basically we're going to loop the program a total of 3 times. And within that, we're going to increment our count by 1 each time. So the shortcut to that is you can put count plus plus, which is just going to add a 1 to our count every time. Another way you can do it is plus plus count, which is probably, once we get into more difficult stuff, is probably more adequate for our programming. And then we're going to follow it with our statement. Now we've got this whole program actually built down here. And so we're actually going to move that into our statement to make it the nested loop that we're looking for. So we're going to start by just copying, actually we're just going to cut this out and paste it into the statement here. So our program basically is going to count to 3 and it's going to give us 3 prompts. What number would you like? We're going to input the prompt and then it does nothing from this point. So we also have to bring in our for loop, and this is where the nesting comes in. Go ahead and cut that out. Add a little bit of space. And we're going to input our for loop here. So as it prompts us the first time, we're going to give it a variable or integer that associates the integer into our variable x. X is going to be put into our nested loop here, our for loop, and then it's going to validate the program. So let's clean up our code. I've got this here just for reference for you guys. So we're going to clean this up. Not that far though. Okay, so as we've got the program in front of us, what it should do is basically our main for looping is going to count 3 times that the program inside of it, which is this, is going to be executed. So let's go ahead and run and test and make sure it actually works first before I go into explaining more. So we're going to start the program, and it prompts us again with our what number would you like between 1 and 100. So down here we're going to insert, let's say 91. Press return, not enter, and it's going to give us our list here, which is just going to add 2 to the starting number of 91 to get to less than or equal to 100. So 99 is our last number there. So then you can see it already prompts us for our next program series here. So now we can add, let's say 81. Now let's go 86. We'll get on an even number. And the program then outputs all the way up to 100 by 2 again, and we're prompted a 3rd time, which this should be the last time, so let's make sure it is. and we're going to put in 58 and return. So then we get an even longer list because our loop is going all the way up to 100, and as you can see, we're not prompted by the ns log of what number would you like, because that should be the end of our for loop. That is our overview loop here. So these can be modified. I mean, we could put in 5, so we have to enter 5 different looping formulas or different integers to put into the x variable there. We could start this at 2. I mean, it's all up to you guys, but that's kind of the basics of a nested loop, how it works. There's different functionality behind it, and these are basically the flow control behind a program. So once you understand the nested loop, how it works, you guys will be able to progress forward into future programming of more of the advanced stuff. So hopefully that helps, and yeah, hopefully that helps. Anyways, drop us a comment, subscribe, let us know what you're looking for, and we can try to help you out with some of the problems out there if you feel so inclined. Alright, we'll see you guys later.